Good evening and welcome to this episode of Eat, Quit and Survive Plays a Board Game Solo Edition, where I, your beloved host, am going to play a solo variant of a board game. Last week I tried playing Sagani. That did not work out particularly well for me. This week I'm going to be playing a game that we have played a few times on the channel. It is Architects of the West Kingdom. Turn that down. I can take my headphones off now. I can make sure that the audio is working. Hooray! Yes, hi everyone, hello. If you've not met me before, my name is Luke. I am Dungeon Master, Game Master, person of interest in this particular stream, and in certain other places that we're not allowed to disclose. I am going to be taking us through a play of Architects of the West Kingdom, which is one of my favourite games that I played last year. It is it's up there. It's probably second to Cartographers in terms of the game that I wanted to play the most, but probably because I didn't play this until really late on in the year. I played this in like October, and I played it on stream with Dom during our October charity streams. I think it was during that, so it was during November. It was one of the two. And then we played it again not too long ago, where we played a 5-player game. And now I want to try the solo mode and see how that compares to playing it. So yeah, Architects of the West Kingdom, as my Tabletopia decides it wants to have an explore around the board. So yeah, this is that playthrough. With Architects of the West Kingdom, it is a great little worker investment game, worker placement game with that sort of development aspect of where you place your workers, you gain more benefits from them. If you want to see how it, or hear about how it all plays in full, you can check out one of our previous videos. You can go to our YouTube channel and see where we played the Architects of the West Kingdom both times, or you can look at our VODs and check out how we did them here on Twitch. But in the meantime, I think it's probably worth going through some of the key differences that are going to happen in the solo mode. Now, I'm going to have all of my own actions that I can do, but we have this solo setup card here, which tells me how we're going to set things up. I'm going to deviate from this slightly. So we do have this virtue track and silver and stuff, which are part of the resources you have in the game, as well as the wood and the stone and the gold and the brick and marble and all those sort of things. But I'm going to try the variable player setup option. And what this means is that there is each of the 5 characters that come with the game have their own, are double-sided. They have one side which is all the same colour as they are, and it lets you play whatever you want. This one sets you up slightly differently and gives you some alternatives. So Caroline, who I'm playing as this time, is a little bit shady, as it turns out. She has 8 workers of her 20 in the prison. That's not a good start. She starts with 10 silver, which is a good thing, because it means I can get those people out. She starts with a reputation of 3, which is a bad thing, because as we see over here on the reputation track, which button have I queued up to? Is it this one? Yeah, close enough. When I'm down here with the reputation of 3, I can't build on the cathedral, and more about that as the game goes on. But I don't have to pay tax, or I'd pay 1 fewer tax, which may be beneficial. She also has an ability that allows me to gain a extra building card when I go to any of the black market spaces. And what's the other thing she has? Oh, she also starts off with 1 unpaid debt and 1 marble. So this is going to be interesting. And it kind of suggests I should go evil. And I've not done that before in this game. I've not gone down the evil route for playing Architects of the West Kingdom. Dom did in our first playthrough, and he didn't win. But whether that was because of how he played his game or how I played my game, it just sort of worked out a little bit differently. I don't know. So we shall see. So that's the variable setup. Each of the 5 characters have their own variable setup. They have their own powers, which is going to change the game slightly. In this instance, it's going to change it for me. And potentially see how this will change my position. Over here, though, we have Constantine. Constantine is the bot. And you can use Constantine or his counterpart, Helena, who is apparently the hard mode. I don't know how she differs. I guess there'll be something to do with scoring. I'm not sure. But apparently she's the more difficult mode. Oh, that's it. Yeah, she scores more points for some of these things. Which is okay. That's interesting. So something to try at some points. But you can also use Constantine in a 2-player game to give you a 3rd player. So as Dom and I found when we played, there wasn't that much direct attacking of each other. Because in this game, when you gather a huge amount of workers in one place, you've got a possibility that people will come along and they will steal them away. And lock them up in prison, which makes the game a little bit trickier as things develop. In a 2-player game, you tend not to focus on that so much, if only because it becomes a bit unwieldy to do it. You end up with a bit of tit-for-tat going on. Sometimes it strategically works out, but it doesn't happen anywhere near as often. Constantine throws in a 3rd player and has a little bit of randomness chucked in there. And I'll show you what I mean by the randomness. So instead of having a action that is programmed, Constantine has this deck of scheme cards. Now these brown-headed ones are the starting scheme, and the ones over on this side, which have got a black border on the other side of them, are future schemes, and they're more powerful and more dangerous options. So what this card tells us, it tells us where Constantine sends one of his meeples, and then it tells us where those meeples go. So on this one, with Guardhouse, for example, you take as many actions as possible, 1 per worker, in the following order. So in the first action, frees his people from prison. The second one is he takes the individuals that have been captured on his board, usually my workers, to prison and gains 1 marble. Then he can pay 2 to the tax, or 2 from the bank goes to the tax, because Constantine doesn't gain any resources. I keep saying resources I keep emphasising it with resources instead of resources. But anyway, it's just a thing I've been aware of myself. I started talking to myself in a room. Anyway, that goes into the tax stand, and then on this next one, Constantine can pay 3 to the tax stands and can flip and can discard a debt and gain 1 virtue. And that will obviously benefit him as the game goes on. So there's a little bit of variety of how these cards are going to come out. When the deck runs out, we flip it over, we shuffle it up again, and we draw new cards for Constantine. We see how that goes. And the game plays and ends in the same way as the standard game, in that once the various building spots have been completed in the guild hall, then we reset. So that is pretty much it. This is a very quick brief overview of how it works in a solo mode as opposed to a 2-player game. Because we've played this game before, and quite frankly, I think it takes a little while to explain. So if there's any questions that you guys have as they come up, by all means, shoot them out. We will just give it a go and see how it plays. I am also a little bit tired today, so I am going to just do things as we go. I had a long day in London, and for some reason my sleep schedule has not quite caught up with me yet. And that is not going to be helped by going to aircon next week. Which is actually a good reminder time to say that we will be streaming tomorrow. Laura, Dom and I are going to be playing the Tuscany expansion of Viticulture to see if we can have a different result to what happened the last time we played Viticulture. Dom won by a point in the final round. And then there won't be any more streams for this week, because Laura and I will be up at Aircon up in Harrogate. So hanging out with some of the people in the Watch It Play team, and some various other people out there in the board gaming world. So if you want to come, if you're going up there, come and say hi. If you recognise basically this part of my head, then come along and say hi. And if not, send us a message, give us a follow, chat to us on Instagram and Twitter. Say hi, let us know how you're doing. So I need to, first of all, I need to finish up my setup over here. I probably need to have a look at those apprentices at some point. So I have to take 8 of my peoples, and I need to put them in prison. Okay, so that's a good start. Then I get 10 monies. So normally in this game you would obviously gain the resources. On Tabletopia there is a very nice little tracker here for all of those various resources. That's going to make my life a little bit easier. It means I don't have to keep track of physical counting quite so much. It's all here for me. I've given myself the marble. I get a debt, which is up here. That is worth -2 points at the moment. And my virtue starts at 3, which at the end of the game, if I don't do anything about, is going to be -5 points. And at the moment, I can't build on the cathedral because no one trusts me, because I'm a dirty, dirty scoundrel. But on the plus side, I don't have to pay as much tax. So there is that. I also get to draw 5 building cards to start things off. Draw 3 and then draw 2. So let's have a look. They're all very give me resources heavy, aren't they? So I don't think I want the fortress. That's very expensive. That's a good load of points, but it does give. It does cause some potential problems because it's going to impact my reputation track quite severely. So I think I'm going to put that at the bottom of the deck. I'll put that down there for the moment. I'll just move the other cards in a moment. I've got the lumber camp, the carpenter's hut, the treasury, and the smithy. I think I'm going to go with the loggers camp and the smithy. They both require a lot of resources, but I'm hoping that by doing both of these, I can generate enough resources to make the treasury really easy to build. That's my thinking. I may be wrong in my thinking, but it's my thinking nonetheless. Bob. Okay. So I'm just going to keep my hand available there. In fact, actually, I'm going to keep my cards out because that will make it... Oh, no, actually, no, I won't, because otherwise I will forget that they're in my hands and I haven't actually built them yet. So, I go first because I'm the start player. I think I'm going to go here and I'm going to hire an apprentice. Now, normally I would only be able to hire these 2 individuals here because they're at the front. In fact, the swindler might be quite useful to have at some point. So I think I will just hire the swindler. Now I pay 3 to the 2 to the bank, 1 and 2 to the tax stand normally. Because of my power, or because of where I am on the virtue track, I pay 1 less tax, 1 fewer tax. So I'm going to hire this individual. I'm going to lose 3 money. And I'm going to put an extra into the tax stand. In fact, for ease, I'm just going to stack these all up into 1 because it makes life a little easier. Okay. And then these guys slide down. If I had wanted to go a little bit further along the track, I would have to put 1 silver on top of each person I skipped over. What does the squire do? If I have... So when the black market refreshes, that's what this symbol means, and I have no one in the prison, I gain a gold. Useful, potentially. Alright, let's hide the hand for a moment. Let's see what Constantine is going to be doing this fine day. Let's go to the King's Storehouse. And he gains a reputation per worker at the King's Storehouse. Okay. That's easy enough. There you go. Goes there, gets 1 reputation. Easy. Easy turn for Constantine. Alright, my turn. I'm going to go here again. I'm going to hire another person, so that costs me another 3 and 1 to tax stand. I might have to go and raid the tax stand shortly because that's a lot of money. I'm also going to put an extra coin on the... who's this guy? The stonecutter, because I want the illusionist here. It gives me that axe symbol, which is always quite nice. Costs me a reputation, but when I go to the black market, it does not cost me a reputation to go to that black market anymore, which I think is a really good trade-off, and means that with the powers that I have, I'm not going to suffer too much, and I can get some good resources. So I'm going to drop down another reputation track. Now -7 points isn't good. If I get to 7 and I end up in negative figures, effectively I am going to be gaining more debt. So I do want to be careful of that. So let's see how it goes. By the way, if anyone's in chat and or anyone's watching and you just want to hang out and chat, by all means, fire over any questions. Okay, so we have Town Centre. Puts 1 into the tax and then captures all your workers from the location with the most, excluding the tax stand. If tied, follow this order. Okay. So, goes up here to the town centre. 1 coin goes to the tax. And then my 2 workers down here are captured. Not ideal, but, you know, not the end of the world. I've got my 2 apprentices for the moment. So, could be worse. Now, with my swindler, every time I go to the black market, I get an extra 2 brick, and both my buildings need brick. So I'm tempted to just go to the black market. Now, do I go to the big market or the small market? That's the question. The small market gets me a marble. The big market costs me 3 coins, but does get me 2 marble, a stone and a wood. And I do need stone and wood. So let's do that. Let's pay 3, which is all my monies. But I do get 2 marble, stone and wood. I also get 2 brick because of my swindler. Hooray! Who said being evil doesn't pay off? Everyone says that. I've just picked up from that deck, which I shouldn't have done. So I'm going to shuffle that in. Doesn't really matter. Alright, let's see what we get this time. Guardhouse. Okay, so this is the Guardhouse card. So Constantine would return his workers. He only has 1 there, but he's going to be gaining my workers back and getting a marble for his troubles. So there's his marble. Off go my 2. Whoops. Let's lock Constantine in place. Off go my workers to the prison. Yippee. Well, I guess I'm going to be evil again. I'm going to go to the tax stand and take that -2 to my virtue. That means I no longer pay tax. But I do get 7 monies. Yay. See, that works. Did my command work? Yes, it did. Hooray. So yeah. Alright. So that is me done for now. So Constantine now goes to the black market. So he loses a reputation. So he would normally go to the big market, but since I've already taken that space, he will go to the medium space, which is unhelpful because that would have been nice to go to in a future turn. Never mind. It will do. So he goes there. He loses a reputation. Boo. Boo and hiss to you, sir. Boo and hiss. But gains a future scheme card to the discard pile. That's this card here. To the Guildhall, which does nothing. That's not bad for me. It means there's an extra card in his deck that will slow him down a little bit. I do like that little semi-deck buildery essence that's going on there. Now, because when this black market gets filled out, it's going to refresh and some bad prison things will happen over here. I'm probably going to be in the best... I'm probably better off going and freeing my friends and getting them all back. Because otherwise that's going to spell disaster for me. So I'll be getting some debt cards. Come back, my friends. I have cake and ice cream. I wish I had cake and ice cream. I'm not going to be eating healthily over the next few days when I go to Harrogate to Aircon. I'm sure there'll be some healthy options. I'm just probably not going to eat them. Let's be fair. I'm at a convention. I'm there to eat chips and crisps and stuff. Pizza. Right. What do we have next? Guildhall. Take the first possible action in the following order. Moves their player marker one space up the cathedral and discards the top reward card. Okay. So we have our first step in building part of the cathedral. So Constantine goes here. And this bumps up one space. This card, which would have been some sort of reward, would have been a reputation and a free card, just disappears off the top of the board. Oh well. Would have been good for me, but I can't build there yet. So I need to figure out how to get some reputation pretty dang quickly. Okay. Let's see. There's no point in me going to the black market. I don't lose anything. Oh, did I get myself a negative for going to the black market? I think I did. I should not have done. Hang on. Started on 3. I've lost 2 because of these guys. I should be on 0. I should be on 1. Silly me. Okay. Let's think. Let's think. Let's go. Let's go to the forest. Let's get some wood. Because going to the forest and getting some wood means I'm getting stuff. Stuff is good. Stuff is useful for the future. King's Storehouse again. So Constantine of the Byzantine goes to the King's Storehouse and gains 2 virtue because he's a virtuous stand-up fellow and the king has hired him specifically. Right, I'm going to go to the quarry, get myself a stone. So now I just need to get myself a ton of clay. Alright. Guardhouse once again, so take as many actions as is possible. I don't think, actually, any of those actions are possible. Oh, there should have been 2 of his workers up there, actually. That's a point. Let's take those up there. The second worker, good, I forgot to put 1 up from earlier. That was a mistake by me, but it's early and I'm off. Well, it's late and I'm on my own. So it's early game, didn't really affect anything. So not the end of the world. He cannot take any of these actions. He can't free his workers. He can't take any of mine to prison. He can't pay 2 tax to free his workers from my board. And he can't pay 3 tax to cancel a debt. Gain a reputation. Get a virtue. Okay, oops. That card should not be over there. Boop. Oh, I took all the cards over there for some reason. Get on, back you come. Alrighty then. Let's see what I can do now. I kind of need clay. I'm going to go up here and get clay. So the clay spot is going to give me 1 clay plus 1 clay per worker there. So if I keep investing my workers there, I should get the clay I need pretty quickly. So I'm now in a position where I can build the lumber camp and the smithy, which is going to score me 3 points and get me 4 resources of some kind. That's pretty good. Okay. Constantine. King Storehouse again. So 1 more worker goes in here. He gets another 1, 2, 3 virtue. That is not good for me. His virtue skyrockets really quickly. That is not good. Okay. So this is where it might be beneficial for me to go and... I did not take that stuff. Oh wait, did I? I should all go back over here. Boop. I think it might be better for me to go to the town centre and to shut down this King's Storehouse nonsense. Let's pay a coin. Take those 3 workers away. I have to say, this game is up there with a couple of my favourite worker placements. I think it might just about edge out Stone Age and Viticulture, but not by much. They are all very good games, and I love a worker placement game, don't get me wrong. Just this just pushes it over. It just pushes it over there because I like this worker investment system so much. Okay, Guildhall. Okay, so we've got a repeat of the Guildhall action, which is not the worst thing in the world. So, just going to take that card. Let's see what it was. It would have been 2 reputations. No, not great. These are finite, by the way. There's only 3 of these left in the game, and the likelihood is I'm not going to get them. Just because of how much evil I have been doing. Okay. I'm going to go back and get another 3 clay. Actually, no, I'm going to get a gold instead. I've done 1 gold because the mines does let you get 1 gold for every 2 workers you have. So I think, and if I go next time, there's another clay there. I can get clay. I can get myself 4 clay, which is pretty good and gets me in a really good standing for my turn. All right, next, what have we got? Town centre again. Damn. Well, that's unfortunate. So 1 goes into the tax stand. Then captures all workers from the location with the most workers. Which unfortunately for me is the quarry. Bother. Well, alright. That happens. That happens a lot in this game. Okay, I think it might be time to build some stuff. So I'm going to go here. And I'm going to build myself a smithy. So that costs me all my clay and my wood, but gets me immediately 4 stone. So at the bottom we have this lightning bolt symbol, which means that that is an instant reward that I get. And I've got these 3 victory points for later on, which is handy. Means I'm on the roll. I'm on a roll. I'm on the board. Probably in trouble, but I'm on the board. Where are the rest of your cards, Constantine? Where have they gone? Uh-oh. That was every done a thing. It's thrown them off into the ether for some reason. Why? Come back. Right, new card. What have we got? Guardhouse. take as many actions as possible. 1 per worker in the following order. Okay, well, I guess he's getting Constantine's getting a marble, and my 2 workers. Yep. No. Yeah. That was not what I wanted to do. There we go. Nope. Why are you taking all those workers? Let's try this again, shall we? Hey, Jason, I'm confused. There we go. Right. My 2 workers up there, you gained a marble. Good bully for you. Okay, what do I need to do my next bit? I need some brick. So if I go there now, I'm going to get 2 brick. So that's fine by me. Constantine. 2 in the tax, and then get rid of the leftmost apprentice on the top row. So the trader here is going to go away. I'm just going to make a discard pile over there. Okay. Actually, let's look at this patron. Because when I go to the King's Storehouse, that's an additional action option. So when I go there, I can pay 2 silver to gain a virtue. That might not be such a bad idea, actually, to procure her at some point. Don't think it's worth doing now because it's quite expensive. Well, actually, it'll cost me 4, so it's not the same as it would do if I did it later. The only downside is none of it is tax, so it is a difficult route. Be more difficult for me to come by. But I can worry about that later. Alright, my turn again. I did not put someone here. Let's see, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, so he's used 12. Missed out placing one of his workers, haven't I? I didn't place an extra one at the guardhouse. There should have been 3 up there. Ah, dear. This is what you game for. This is for pro gaming. This isn't. But that's okay. You just got to see how it goes sometimes, and sometimes you forget stuff. And we all play board games wrong anyway, so, you know. What harm does it take if it doesn't actually affect the outcome of the game? If I accidentally cheat, I'm only cheating myself. So, what to do? That black market could refresh at any moment, so I'm tempted to get my people back and put his people in prison. So I think I will do that. So I'm going to grab my 2 come home to me. And his 3 go to prison. And I get a silver for each one. Which is nothing, so I have 9. Okay, Constantine, what are you doing next? And he's getting rid of the person, the next person. So, take 2 from there. Now to the tax stand. Our little guy goes off over here. These guys pop their way along. We now have an acolyte, whose ability is when advancing work on the cathedral, you get a new card. That's what's useful. This is the problem playing with variable player powers, doing it for the first time, that you forget their abilities. Like, when you go to the black market, You gain a building card. So I should have gained one a while ago. If I take one now, is anyone going to mind? I'm only offending myself. Carpenter's Hut. Fairly certain that was the card I discarded early on, but I had to shuffle things up, so that's my own fault. Never mind. Oh well. Okay. That gains an extra point at the... So this little flag symbol means at the end. So at the end of the game, it will gain a point per apprentice with this axe symbol. Which may not be a bad thing to go for. A little bit later on. Especially if I go for this patron, who is in stone. That at least gives me those workers. I really want to try Viscounts of the West Kingdom. We've played Paladins before, and I really enjoyed that, and that's on the list to get soon. Up with Tapestry. Tapestry and Paladins of the West Kingdom are probably the top 2 games that I want to get next, and probably looking out for at Aircon. Viscounts of the West Kingdom is probably the next one to try, so we might do that on stream one day, once we've got a bit of time to figure out how it all comes together. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. That should be in my hand. No, it shouldn't. That's been built. That was my turn, I think. Yes, it was my turn. Town centre. Good. Captures all my workers in the location with the most people. So we put 1 in the tax stand once again. A lot of these town centre cards. So worker in the town centre. So place with us most is the guardhouse. So they are going to come back from the guardhouse. That's okay. They kind of serve their purpose up there. They might be useful later on to get rid of this. The temptation is to go to the town centre and capture some of his workers. Capture the 3 there and the 3 at the guardhouse. It's effectively a free action for me because I don't have any virtue. So why not? I'm going to put 2 in. I'm going to put a second one in the town centre. Now normally in a, I think it's in a 3-player game. You can't. If you're going to grab workers, you have to grab them from the same spot. But obviously in a 2-player game or a bot game like this, you can't really restrict it like that because you get to capture more people if you pay additional money. So let me just double check that that is correct because it's been a little while. Town centre. Yeah, up to 2 locations in a 2, 3 and solo game. So I pay no money to the tax, but I do get these 1, 2, 3. Then I just pay 1 in general to go to the bank to capture these 3. And my cunning plan here is that when this black market resets, I can, if I've taken all of his up there before then it's going to be quite a lot of bad reputation and a debt card, which is bad for him. It's not great for me either, but it's good, bad for him. Why is that? I take it from the wrong deck again. I did. I'm tired. Oh dear. Right. Shuffle you up. Okay, let's see what we get this time. Tax stand. Return any tax stands, any coins in the tax stand to the main supply and receive the following. So, loses 2 reputation but gains a marble. Now, marble is worth pointing out. Marble is points for Constantine at the end of the game. So that's 6. 6 coins would have been great for me, but that's okay. He has a dude go up here and loses 2 reputation. Now it's interesting because at the moment, technically, Constantine isn't allowed to go to the black market. If we're playing in a normal game, because he has passed a certain level of virtue, he cannot go to the black market. don't think that applies in a two-player in this game, though. I don't think that rule applies to him. Yeah, in fact, it says on his board. That does not apply to him. Dear. Right. Do we want to gather some more apprentices? I think so. I think I want to gather another apprentice. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to put a silver on these two fine fellows. And I'll get myself this apprentice. The patron. So when I go to the King's Storehouse, I can trade in 2 money for virtue. And I lose 4 monies for doing that. 4 monies, please. You know that Acolyte who gives you clay for building up the temple. I need to start doing more building, I think. But for that, I'm going to need some more clay. May have to be an ambition shortly. Alright. Constantine. Yep. Oh, God. Goes to the black market. Okay, so this happens. So he's going to the leftmost black market because everywhere else is full. He loses a reputation but gains a marble. Boop. And then the black market refreshes. So, what happens when the black market refreshes? Once all these slots have been filled, these guys go up to prison. Then, if you have 3 or more, you lose a reputation. And whoever has the most gets an unpaid debt card. And that is Constantine. So that's handy for me. I only have 1, so that's good. And then this card that's on the top flips over and becomes the new big market. Gives some new resources. We get 2 gold, or we get 2 marble, 2 stone. Right, that's Constantine's turn. We only have 1 worker up in the prison at the moment. That's not the end of the world. Let's see. I think I'm better off getting some more clay. So I'll get myself 3 more clay. That puts me up to 5. So next turn I'll be able to build either the carpenter's hut or the lumber camp. I think probably the lumber camp, because that means I'll be able to build the treasury really quickly after it. I don't want to give Constantine too much time to get a load of marble. Town centre! Again. A lot of town centre cards. And he is going to capture my... Ooh, actually... There's a tie. There's a tie between the mines and the town centre for me. So, he does them in a priority order. And that priority order is starting at the mines. So he will capture my miners. Boo. Boo and hiss. That's okay. Boop. Okay, this is actually a lot harder than playing in a 2-player game, I think. Because you can't necessarily predict where things are going, it takes it a little longer for you to get your engine going, which is not a bad thing, to be fair. Because if this was just me and Dom duking it out, a lot of things that have happened in this game wouldn't have, and it would have been less reactive, it would have been a little bit more plugging things in. But I guess this kind of replicates what it's like with 3 players. Certainly what it was like when I played 5 players with Ross, Laura, Tom and Dom. That was good fun. Yeah, I think this game does actually play really well at 5 because the turns are so quick. Even though it feels like a 5-player worker placement game wouldn't necessarily play well. I don't know. This one does. Alright. That was Constantine's turn. Where have his cards gone this time? They just disappeared off the board. There they are. Why are they yeeted over here? Digital board games. Stuff randomly happens. Goes over there. Why? Right, it is my turn now. I've lost my mind, so I think I'm going to start building. We are 4/12 of the way there, so we're about a third of the way through the game at this point. I'm going to be building the lumber camp. So the lumber camp gains me 3 points, costs me 4 brick and 2 stone. And I have plenty. And then I get some wood. I get 4 wood. I'm sure somewhere Ross is making a joke about getting wood. Seems the sort of thing that an optimistic elf would do, wherever he may be. Alright, that is my turn for that. Constantine's next turn. Let's see how this goes. Tax stand returns. Tax stand loses 2 reputation, gains a marble. Okay. Not much in the tax stand as it happened at the moment anyway. That's the thing. In a 2-player game, no one would do that. No one would go to the tax stand and lose 2 reputation to gain 1 coin. So the bot is random. The bot is just programmed to do whatever bot's going to do. It is what it is. Okay. I may as well do this now, because I have the stuff for it. So, I'm going to build another building. I'm going to build the treasury. The treasury! So the treasury cost me 1 wood, 1 gold, and 3 stone, which again, I have. Boop. Boop, boop, boop. And boop. And then I can choose to gain either 3 silver or gold. I think I'm better off getting 3 silver, because 3 silver is going to help me long term, probably, than a single gold, which I can get relatively easily. Okay. So 12 points for buildings. That is a good thing for the moment. I probably need to get some more buildings, so I might do that next. Alright. Nope, stop drawing building cards when you want to gain Constantine cards. King Storehouse gets 1 point per 1 reputation for every worker he has there. Now, I believe when Constantine runs out of workers in the solo modes, let's see. Yeah, I return all workers apart from those that are at the guild hall or the black market, including those which are captured and imprisoned, and then we reshuffle the entire scheme deck. So actually this is not going to be good. So if I want to get the benefit of these, I need to get a shuffle on and put those guys up to prison, because that would not be good for me. Okay, in fact, I'm going to do that now. I'm going to send them to prison. That is good stuff to know when you're playing a solo game. So I gain 6 coins. 6 coins. I'm rolling in the money. I'm not rolling in virtue, and I'm not rolling in points, but I am rolling in money. Alright, that is my turn for now. Constantine. Town centre. Put 1 in the tax stand and is going to steal my workers. Which I guess this time is coming from the town centre. That's ironic. Running to the town centre to dob us into the people who are gathered at the town centre. Oops, over here. I feel like I need to free my people. I've got dudes gathering dust over in Constantine's warehouse, and if he gets that card, takes him up to the guardhouse, it is not good. So I have the option. I can go to the guardhouse. I could spend, in my case, it would be 3 silver and take a debt card and lose a virtue to free all my workers. Or I could wait for the go up there and then I get it for free, and then I could, on another turn, spend 4 silver, one of which is tax, and flip over an unpaid debt card. Since I started with a debt card, it's probably worth waiting until they go up there, actually. I don't need them at the moment. If I get stuck, then I might. But for now, I think I'm going to gain myself some more building cards. So I get to draw 2 more. Let's see what I've got. Got the moneylender, who gives extra points for every flipped over debt card. We have the betting house, which is not good. That's a lot of bad stuff. So that's losing a reputation. Both of these lose reputation. I'm going to have to go down the criminal route, aren't I, to really benefit from some of these cards that are coming up. I don't know. What do you think, chat? If anyone's out there who has played this game before, what do you think? Should I just continue to go evil and suffer the consequences of losing points at the end? Because at the moment I'm losing, a little while to go, I'm losing 8 points. And if I play those 2 cards, I'll be losing 9 and then more debt cards, which is also bad. I don't know. I can't remember how easy it is to regain virtue to suddenly shoot up there without going to the cathedral. Something to mull on. In the meantime, it's Constantine's turn. So all of Constantine's cards get flipped over and shuffled. And we get a new card. Let's see what we get. Oops, that's the hand. I wanted to flip. Town Centre captures all my workers from a location with the most, excluding the tax stand. Fan dabby dozo. So the 2 from the workshop. Excellent, excellent. Oh well. This is 1 more on the tax, so you know there's that. Free money-ish. Okay. So I think I'm going to go to the black market because all I'm paying is 3 silver because of my illusionist. Presumably, in the story of the game, I'm guessing the illusionist casts a spell so I don't look like Caroline. I just look like Merchant Bill. And Merchant Bill looks like a right wrong'un. Sounds feminine, but looks like a wrong'un. So I don't lose any reputation, but I still get the stuff. So I'm going to go there. I'll pay my 3 silver. I will gain 2 marbles. And I will gain 2 stone, which I'm sure will be useful later on. I also gain, because of my swindler, he recognises Bill, and he just slides a little bit of clay in my pocket. You know, just why don't you take that clay along with you, sir? We're not going to hide anything under a wimple. You know what I mean? Nudge, nudge. Wink, wink. Know what I mean? Say no more. All right. It's now Constantine's turn. Constantine cannot place anything, so he reclaims all his workers. This is the downside of having 20 workers out on the board. They've all got to come back somehow. So let's take these guys back. He regains all his workers, apart from the ones that are in the guild hall and on the black market. Currently he has none in the black market. He does have 2 in the guild hall. And I think that's probably telling that there are 2 cards in that deck that push Constantine up on the Guildhall and therefore push him up the Cathedral. So it's actually quite beneficial for me to get a shufti on and build some stuff to get points. And then this card, the Town Centre card, which we've just picked up, gets shuffled back into his deck. Luckily, we don't add a major scheme into things this time. Sometimes I've got to just stretch my neck. Okie dokie. Let's see. Let's see what I can do now. I'm hoping that Constantine will send my people over to prison in the not too distant future, because I would really like to get those guys back. I would like to do it for free rather than have to pay for it, even though I have the money for it. So I think I'm going to go to the black market again. Well, actually, I should have picked up an extra card because I went to the black market, and that's my woman's. That's her ability. That actually changes things. I'm going to instead go and construct. Now, what this means is the black market will refresh the next time someone constructs something, either at the cathedral or next time someone goes to the guild hall. We will reset the black market, which is not great for me potentially, because I'll get a debt card as it stands. But who knows what will happen with Constantine. But it does mean that I can build myself this well. It costs me 2 wood and 2 stone. But it gains me 3 points, which is always handy. And then I gain 4 brick, which is good. And I've got enough so that I can build Carpenter's Hut on my next turn. So let's see what happens next. Hadoosh. King's Storehouse. So Constantine's going to go get himself a virtue. Doop doop. Okay. I've got 2 workers left. That is not good. I can go to the town centre and reclaim my own workers, but they're spread out so thin at the moment, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Okay, I think I'm going to go and get myself 2 gold. I think 2 gold is probably going to be beneficial to me. Yeah. Although, that being said, I could go to the middle one and gain a free person. That might be... You know what? Sure. I'm going to pay an extra thing. I remember I don't lose any virtue because of my swindler. Sorry, because of my illusionist, because Bill is off on the prowl again. So I lose 2, but I get to get any of these guys for free. I think I'm going to take the Acolyte. Now I'm coming up to my limit of how many people I can have. I can only have a maximum of 5 individuals. The Acolyte does give me a virtue, and when I build at the guild hall, I get to gain a card. I gain a card anyway because I went to the black market, which is helpful. Ooh, Fortress. 2 marble, 1 gold, 4 stone, 3 brick. Sorry, 1 marble, 1 gold, 4 stone, 3 brick. Needs 1 of everything, loses 2 reputation, but immediately frees 2 sets of allies. That could be useful to build. Especially as Constantine keeps knitting my people. Okay, and I've gained a reputation, so I am now actually going to start paying more taxes. So let's see how this goes out. What's next? King's Storehouse again. Did I really just draw 2 of those? Yeah, I did. Okay. So, Constantine goes back to the King's Storehouse. Gains another little fella there and gains 2 reputation. Big reputation. Big reputation. You and me, we got a whole reputation. Thing is I could go to the guild hall and build myself. The problem is building at the guild hall, reset the black market, it means I would lose a virtue because I would have 3 workers at the prison, because those 2 at the bottom would go across up here. Now I could go to the prison. I could go and free my people. I think I might have to do that. I don't want to. It's not the best solution for me, but I think I'm going to have to. So let's do it. I'm only paying 1 tax. I should have done it last turn, to be honest. So I'm only paying 1 tax. So 1 goes onto the tax stand. Boop. I lose 4. Which is not ideal. But it happens. I gain a debt card, sadly. So I now have 2 of those. I lose a reputation. But I do get all my workers back. Whether that's a good trade-off, I don't know. Because the other action is that if I don't have any workers left, I can just take 1 from any 1 spot. Which gives you an opportunity, at least. I also I do have a second action because it's 1 per up in the guardhouse. So I think I'm just going to take this guy home. I'm just going to bring him back. Right, Constantine goes to the tax stand. Loses 2 reputation, gains a marble, loses the tax for me, which was only 3, so it's not so bad. Does mean it's unlikely I will go to the tax stand again. It seems like the best opportunity for the money of that has sailed, and I got that early on. I picked up some ice. No one's got ice clacking against teeth. Alright. Should have replenished this. Another merchant with her belt of gold. Okay, how do I want to play this? Could go to the back market and send my 2 up. Well, actually, that's a point. I could go to the back market, send my 2 up there whilst I'm still not losing anything. Cost me 1, but I get 2 golds. And then at the very least, I've opened up space. Let's do it. Alright. I'm going to go to the back market. I'm going to lose my son. No. No. Because I don't want to lose another debt. Okay, in which case I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to go build. I'm going to build the carpenter's hut. So 3 clay, 1 stone, and 1 wood. So that'll be 3 points at the end. Then the black market refreshes. So these 2 go up here. I gain an unpaid. I gain a debt anyway, which is unfortunate. So I need to work on these. This will refresh. That's pretty good. 2 gold, or 1 marble, 1 gold, 1 stone, and 1 wood. Okay, let's see what we get this time. Guardhouse. I think I've gone away with it. So it looks like... okay. So the only action that's available, because there are none of his workers in the prison, there are none of my workers in his citizen's arrest holding pen, for him to gain a marble, the only solution he can do is pay 3 tax. Which will just go into here. And gain a reputation by paying off this unpaid debt. So that will go back over here. Oh, such a good game. Really enjoy this game. So good. It is so good. Why are you buzzing at me? Mobile phone. Moobly phone. No idea. Nothing of any interest. Sorry for that, chat. I thought it might have been important. It was not. Alright. So... let's think about this. I need money. That's the only thing I haven't really needed a huge amount of throughout this game is money, because I've been able to gain it from other sources. But I am going to need it. I want to flip over these debts because this card, the money lender, gives me points for flipping over my debts. So I think I want to aim to build this, and then I want to get my debts flipped over. So I think I'm going to just need to get some money. So I'll go and visit the silversmith, which gets me 2 silver. This may mean I have to go to the black market. Two wood and 1 gold. Not impossible. In fact, I can probably get most of that if I just go to the black market once. It's just going to cost me stuff. Okay. Strategy is beginning to form here. King's Storehouse. 1 for every... yeah. So 1... then we'll go 2 and 3. If he had any other unpaid debt cards, he would lose them. Luckily, he doesn't. He already got rid of the 1. That's fine. Okay, so let's just do it. I will go here. I will get myself, lose myself 3 silver and a reputation. No, I don't lose the reputation because of my guy. Thanks, guy. I will gain 2 clay for going to the black market and an extra building card. The mason's hut. Gives you 1 point per stonemason at the end of the game. So the same as my carpenter's hut, I guess. Or my... which one is it? Where's that card? I swear I had a card that let me gain points for... I did. I'm missing a card. Why are you over there? Carpenter's hut went flying off somewhere. These cards. I swear they've got legs. Tabletopia, whoever programmed this, obviously put legs in the cards for some reason. They just keep rolling away. Alright. So that was that, and then I gain 1 marble, a gold, a wood, and a stone. Okay. Constantine. Black Market adds a future scheme card to the schemes pile discard because he can't go to the big market because I already went there. Yeah. But loses a reputation. He's getting many points. Alright, let's see what this is. So that is a King's Storehouse. Gains a point per and a marble. So it's an improved King's Storehouse action. Okay. Not the greatest, not the worst. So I'm going to go build. Kind of need to build as much as I can before everything gets locked out. Okay, so I am going to build myself a merry little Christmas. No, not Christmas, you fool. I'm going to build a moneylender. So that will lose me another reputation. Do something about that. It cost me 4 brick, 2 wood. I don't have the wood yet. I need to get the wood first. Ignore what I'm saying. I'm going to get some wood. We'll just pretend that turn didn't happen, right, chat? Between you and me, we're just going to keep that secret. That didn't happen. Cool. Thanks. Appreciate you. Alright. Guildhall moves their marker up. And discards top thing and gains a reputation. Goody. Well, his reputation can't get much better. Let's see what this one is. I think I got gold. So at the moment he's getting 7 points for his reputation, which is not the worst thing. Not the worst thing. Alright. Now... so that was one here. Now I'm going to build... What do you mean you've seen this turn before? I haven't done this before. How could I? I didn't have the stuff. I'm going to play the moneylender. So I lose a reputation, 4 clay, 2 wood, and a gold. 4. There we go. All good. Hunky-dory. Losing that. You lose a lot more reputation for being... You lose a lot more points for being evil than you do gain them for being good. I will say that. Okay. So, every time I flip over one of these deeds, I'm going to gain... I will gain a reputation, but I will also gain a point, effectively. So it's a 3-point swing plus a reputation gain, which is pretty good. Alright, workshop. 2 to the tax. So we now have tax of 5. I prefer to stack them like this on tabletop because it's easy to just hover over and see how many are there. Which one are we taking? We're taking this top one. Bye-bye. Yeah, that's money. Oh yes, that also gets discarded because that was on him before. As was this one. Just come out. Silversmith, the jeweler, gives you an extra money when you go to the silversmith. That's handy dandy, isn't it? I need to find a way of getting myself some more reputation, which I think might come from going and trading stuff in. Because here you can trade in 2 of the basic resources and gain a reputation, or you can trade in 3 stone and 2 wood to get yourself a marble. Which is pretty useful. I do have a lot of random resources at the moment. It is my turn. I need more monies. More monies, please. So I'm going to go get myself 3 monies. The reason being, if I can get myself a lot of money, when I go up here, I can take this action multiple times. So as long as if I have 8 money when I next go up there, I can... In fact, if I have 12 money, I could do it multiple times. But my reputation goes up once each time. So I think I actually need 13. 13 money is what I'm aiming for. Town centre, capture all the... Of course! Although there's a tie in multiple places. So, first of all we go here and we put 1 on the tax stat. So we have a tie for 2 at the forest, the smith, the guardhouse. So let's see what it is. Mines, no. King's Storehouse, no. Town centre, nope. Forest, okay, so I lose my wood, my humble wood crafting workers. Boo. Boo and hiss to you, Constantine. Okay. I'm going back to the silversmith. That gets me 4 silver this time. Hopefully I won't get that again. Come on, Constantine, don't suck! Constantine sucks! Damn. Okay, well, that happened. It was bound to, wasn't it? I taunted him, and Constantine just went, screw you. Alright, well, I have 10. 10's not bad. Because I could do it twice. And free those 2 who are up there. Which is mad tempting. Spilling water condensation all over my table. Let me think what's going to be best. I probably need to keep one in reserve just in case I need to send someone up there. So I've got 2 turns, effectively. 2 rounds before I need to start just pulling workers back from wherever they are. Don't have enough resources, I don't think. So I need 3 clay, 2 stone, 2 marble, 1 gold. I have the marble, and that's it. I can't do that in 2 turns. I think I'm going to go here. I don't have to pay a tax. I'm going to capture his workers at King's Storehouse. I think that might be my best bet, because at least then when I go up there I can gain money. I can gain 3 money, which gives me what I need. And then I can imprison and I can start paying off my debt. So that's probably pretty good, because I can pay off a debt, capture 2 people back. Gets me in a good place for next turn. Alright. Guildhall. Okay, that's not great. So the Guildhall refreshes, which means we're getting dangerously close to the end of the game. So, first of all... Oh! So the black market refreshes, so this all flips over and goes over here. Dang it. Dang it, dang it, dang it. So, whoever has 3 or more loses a reputation. My reputation goes down, can't go any further, so I get an unpaid debt. And then whoever has the most prisoners gets an unpaid debt. So this isn't the worst thing if I can pay off all 5 debts before the end of the game. But remember, every time I gain a reputation, every time I pay off one of them, I gain a reputation, which means it actually gets more expensive the longer I do this, because I don't have to pay as much tax. Okay, well, I'm going to have to. Okay, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to get my 3 workers back. That's action 1. Gets me 3. Action 2. Take 3 prisoners away and gain 3 silver. Puts me on 13. Then I'm going to spend 4 to flip this debt over. So it would be 6, but 3 of them are taxed, and I pay 2 fewer taxes. So now my reputation goes up by 1. So I'm still paying 2 fewer taxes, but it is worth. That's effectively it's a 4-point swing, which is helpful. Heck of good. Alright, let's see what we get this time. The town centre captures your work. No! Well, guess that happens. He goes to the town centre. He captures my 3 guys at the town hall. That's not unhelpful at all. Listen, this is... The way this bot is playing out is really indicative of how the game actually plays, and it is frustrating, but it's frustrating in a good way. Unlike Sagani last week, which was just frustrating because I couldn't see a way out of it. This is actually a good challenge. So I don't have as much of I don't have a problem with this, whereas I did with Sagani last week. Okay, I've got 3 workers. I'm going to go and pay off another debt. I could go and arrest some of his guys. I think I'm going to go pay off. I'm going to go pay off another debt. Which actually I should have put 1 in the tax stand last turn as well. So I'm going to pay 4. And that pays off that debt. I gain another reputation. So now I am going to be paying 1 fewer tax as opposed to the 2. Just still not the worst thing in the world, but it's not great. Okay, let's see what we get this time. Guildhall. Move the player marker up the cathedral. Bother. Okay. It's actually getting dangerously close to the end of the game now. Ooh, 3 monies and 1 reputation. That's a good card. Okay. And he would gain a reputation, but he cannot get any higher on the reputation chart. Bother. Okay. So next building is going to close down the game. So I need to pay off some of these debts. So my next action is to go here. I pay 1 to the tax stand, which I don't have to do. I'm going to capture his 3 workers, which are based here. 2, 3. And I'm going to capture and pay another silver. Boop. To capture the one that's over here, because he has no other workers out at the moment. 1 to the workshop. Okay. So 2 to the tax stand. And it gets rid of this guy in the bottom right. Okay. Gatekeeper. Loses reputation, and when the black market refreshes, free 2 people. Okay. This is what's unfortunate, is that one of my buildings does give me benefits for carpenters, or fellers, I guess, and I've only got 2 of those. The other stone otherwise, but there we go, never mind. These things happen, sometimes the cards don't come out in your favour. Alright. I was hoping I wouldn't have to do it in this way, but I'm going to go up here, take 4 back to the prison. Gain the silver and get my worker back. Stop running away. Gain 4 silver. And I'm going to pay 5 of them, 2 of which are taxed. So I basically lose 1 to flip over another debt. So I'm still losing 2 points because of those 2 debts, but I'm working on it. So 2 more to tax stand. 14 at the tax stand now. We're hoping this card doesn't come up as tax. Guardhouse! Ah ha ha! Okay, so he just takes all of my people over there. Oops. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Pop them up there for now. So he only has 1 worker there, so he only takes the 1 action. It would have been bad if he'd gained all these guys back at once. But Guardhouse is pretty good. He does also gain a marble for it though, so yeah, not the best. Could have been worst. Okay. I now have to spend my action regaining a worker. So I'm going to take the one that's at the tax stand because they're the only one that's been immune from things this entire time. I'm hoping... Okay. Oh, should have gone up another reputation because I flipped over another debt. Hooray. So here's the problem as I see it. Before we take Constantine's turn. And the game could end really quickly. Once the final thing is put into the town hall, we have 1 final turn. Including Constantine. Or rather, we all have a final turn, including that player who was the one that put the last meeple in there. So I have a choice here. I could gamble going to the tax stand, getting the money, Getting 14 silver, which is worth points at the end. 10 silver is worth 1 point at the end. Or I go up here and I free my workers, but I can't afford to pay another debt card. I think I'm just going to have to risk it. It's going to cost me 2 turns, but I'm going to just risk it. And the reputation. So I gain 14 coins from the tax stand. So it puts me up to 17. I lose 2 reputation, which means I'm paying fewer in tax, which is good. So this is potentially... Okay, when your sock moves on your foot somehow and it gets into a really odd position, how that works. Alright, let's see how this goes. King Storehouse. Okay, gains a reputation. So, gains nothing. That's fine. So I have to spend my action gaining this worker back because I am at that weird position. Okay. Guardhouse. Okay, so... Gets to take 2 actions. So this has worked out. This has worked out for me. Okay, so... he regains all his workers. All these red little snots. They come back down here. And then there's nothing else I don't think he can do. He's not got any of my people imprisoned. I'm not holding any of his in my pen, and he doesn't have any debts. So, just leave it there. Now, hopefully, this will pay off for me. So now, I can go here. First action is regain my workers. Come back, friends. Then I can spend 4, of which 1 is taxed. To flip over this debt and gain a virtue. Then I can spend 5, of which 2 is taxed. And flip over this debt. Okay, so I'm out of debt, which is good. The only thing I have to worry about is the game ending. So in an ideal world, I would get 3 more virtue somehow. And I think my only way to do that is to go to the storehouse and start giving up resources and paying that none for it. So tax stand. Okay, well, this isn't bad for me. I think it'll be okay for the moment. So tax stand goes from Constantine. These 3 coins, I'm glad I picked those up earlier. He gains marble and he loses 2 reputation, so that's good for me. Alright, I'm going to go to the King's Storehouse. I have plenty of loose resources. The cheap resources don't gain points at the end, so I'm going to spend 2 clay to gain a reputation bump. Okay, Constantine's turn. Town Centre. Captures all my workers from a location excluding the tax stand. Okay, so that is up here. At the guardhouse, ironically. My people have been causing a rebel outside the guardhouse, so they're going to make a citizen's arrest. Sure, why not? Not too concerned at this point. Right, I'm going to go back here. I'm going to take 2 actions. So, I'm going to trade in my stone and my wood to get a reputation. I'm also going to trade in 2 silver for this patron. Which means I gain 2 reputation and back up at 6, which means I can build on the cathedral now. Which is good because I discard it and I lose gold, but I get 2 points. I don't have any gold. Maybe a problem. Alright, let's see. Black market. Okay. So he's going to go to the big market and get himself 2 marble. But loses a reputation. Okay. This isn't the worst thing that could have happened. Is it worth going for gold? It's not worth building any of my buildings. So I may as well go for gold. I may as well try and get some gold. At the very worst, I get 2 brick, which I can trade in at the King's Storehouse to gain virtue, which would be good. Town centre. Okay, so oops, that should have had someone in there from before. And then gains another one, so we get another taxed. My 2 workers get captured. Because that's the only place where there's 2. Okay. So I'm going to go up. I'm going to get a gold. Boop. Okay. Getting tense. Getting tense towards this end of the game. Alright, let's see. Town centre. Mines, King's Storehouse. Yeah. Steps again. Alright. So, go there. Get another one in the tax. Both of my guys in the mines. Go back here. Okay. So that requires 4 and discarding a building card to build on the cathedral. If I go there now, I'm going to get 2 turns. I'm guaranteeing that I get 2 turns. I don't know how many more turns I get from Constantine. But if I go there now, I'm going to guarantee 2 points, whatever's on the other side of this. Plus I'm going to be able to go here and spend the silver and resources I have to trade out for virtue. So I'll be able to get myself some more points that way. I think I'm going to win the game. I'm going to try it. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to discard the fortress because it means absolutely nothing. It would go to the bottom of the deck, but I'm just going to put it here for now. And then my OCD is going to want me to put it at the bottom of the deck. There you go. So I go up a space here. I get rid of a gold. And I flip over this card. I gain 2 wood and a virtue. Okay. That's not bad. Alright. So this will be the final round. So Constantine gets 1 more turn, I get final turn, then we're going to do some scoring. Town centre. Yeah, that sounds about right. It's final turn, he arrests my people. The only... Oh, no! Oh, no! That... That... Oh, damn it. For all the talk that I was going to get that stuff, I'm only going to be able to do it once because Constantine has stolen my people away. Well, ain't that a kick in the teeth? Well, that's unfortunate. Okay, well, it is what it is, and what it is a slight inconvenience. I don't think I've won, is the honest point. I have a final turn. I don't have any buildings I can construct, do I? Do I? No. No, unfortunately I don't. I can't construct either of these buildings for bonus points. I can't construct at the cathedral because that needs stone and wood. Oh, well, actually, the Acolyte does let me draw a card for having built at the cathedral. That's even that's even worse. I can't do that at all. Also don't want to because that's bad for my reputation. Okay. Back up to 7 reputation. So there's nothing I can do to push my reputation up to a point where I'm getting points. No. So none of the acolytes will give me bonus points for anything. I can't even draw one blind and see what happens. That's what's available. Okay. So I can't build anything. I can't gain any. I can't gain enough money to make a difference. Can I force it to get a debt? No. No, I can't. I think the only thing that's worth doing is going to the. I think the only thing to do is going to the King's Storehouse, paying 2 wood, and gaining a virtue. Boop. Makes me feel better. I'm on 8 virtue rather than where I started, which was I started at 3. So to get up to 8 is not bad, especially as I did a lot of evil stuff. Okay, so that is the end of the round. So now we do some scoring. I'm going to drag my. I'm going to just put the gold here because the gold isn't going to make a difference for my. It doesn't. I don't have any gold to score, so I'm just going to use it for my victory point total. So first of all, I gain points for my buildings, which is 3, 6, 12, 22, 25. 25 points for my buildings. Not bad, actually. I built a lot more than I thought I would. Then I'm going to get some points for my levels at the cathedral, which I think is this button. I gain 2 for that. Okay. Then I gain points for my reputation. My reputation isn't high enough. Unpaid debts cost me 2 points. I have paid all of my debts. I'm going to gain 6 points for my marble. 6. Yay, puts me on 33. For every 10 gold I get a point, which hasn't happened. For every 2 workers I have in the prison, I lose a point. No one has any workers in prison, which is good. And then bonus cards, which I think actually technically they score under the buildings because they're bonuses as well. So I get 2 points from the carpenters up because I have 2 carpentry based individuals, so I get 2 points for that, so that puts me on 35. Then I get a point for every paid debt, every debt card that I've flipped over, so I gain another 5, so that puts me on 40. 40 points is not bad. 40 points is not bad at all, he says. Let's find out how badly I've lost. So I'm going to use my money counter because that can move as well. I'm just going to pop that here to get a score. So Constantine scores for his position on the various tracks as well. So it is 12 points for his position on the cathedral and 2 for, reputation. So that is 14 points. He loses 2 points for any debt. He has no unpaid debt. He loses 2 for prisoners. He gains 1 for every marble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 10 points. 24. Loses 1 for every 2 in the prison, which he doesn't have any. And then this symbol means he gets a point for everyone in the guild hall. So this could be problematic for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, what? Really? Really? I've won? Ha ha! Really? Huh. Well, how about that? I felt so certain that I was going to lose that. Everything that was coming up kept stealing my workers away, meaning I had to divert away from the plan that I wanted. And I don't know if that is just because I pushed to get the end of the game through sooner, that meant it wasn't quite as bad, or if it was just I managed to do a thing to help things. Well, what do you know? I won! Yay! Awesome. I like that as a solo mode, I think. Once you get past the fact that some moves that the bot will do obviously won't be the optimal moves because it's a bot and excuse me for yawning, and it doesn't have its own sentient thoughts and strategy, you get over that pretty quickly. I think that gives a very good approximation to a two-player game where a two-player, the second player, is being an absolute hole. But you know what? Sometimes that's the people you play with, and I still really enjoy Architects of the West Kingdom. I think it's a great game. I think this variable player action. I think I want to try different scenarios and see which one I like. I mean, you can play them randomly and just sort of shuffle them out and deal them out, or you can just play with the flip side, which just gives you a standard setup. I think I got lucky with my combination of things. That certainly helped. I got, getting extra cards from the black market, getting a person who doesn't cost me anything to go to the black market, getting someone who gives me extra clay at the black market, and then getting these buildings made life a little bit easier. But you know what, 40 to 29, I'll take that. That's a pretty skillful approximation. I think what definitely helped was putting more buildings out. I put out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I put out 7. So I built 6 buildings down here, and I put 1 into the cathedral. I think if I hadn't done that, I would have struggled. Well, obviously, I would have struggled because I wouldn't have got as many points. But also, I think the paying off the debts and getting that acolyte, getting the money lender that gives you more points for paying off the debts, that really helped me. I think that worked quite well. Anyway, that's Architects of the West Kingdom. That was fun. Excuse me, I'm yawning. I'm tired. Thank you very much for joining me on that. That was an interesting adventure this time around. I'm definitely going to have to try and play Paladins and Viscounts solo and see how those go as a comparison. I'm also going to have to play Viscounts physically, physically and digitally. I'm going to play all of these physically. I haven't played them physically yet. I do have a copy of Architects of the West Kingdom. Unfortunately, my copy when I opened it didn't have marble in it. It's not. The thing is, it's not unplayable without marble. But when I was planning on playing a solo mode, I need marble to score some points. I could have just used workers. I had an extra set of green for some reason, but as you can see, I like playing green, so I didn't really want to lose those workers as a result. But anyway, such is life. It happens. The store that I bought it from. Oh, excuse me. I need some sugar. The store I bought it from were very happy to just send across some replacement parts. Those will hopefully arrive soon. Hey ho, that's life. Alright, I am going to wander off and I will send this on a raid somewhere. If you want to keep up to date with what we are doing over the next few weeks, months, and whatever it's doing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to just or the follow button just to keep tracking along. Subscribe if you would like. You'd like to give us some financial support. That'd be really appreciated. You can go onto our Instagram, Eat Crit Survive, and also our Twitter account. You can just follow us there, and our YouTube channel also has that. We are also going to be restarting our D&D campaign. When I say restarting, I mean we are starting from scratch. We had our sessions over last Friday. That was very interesting and a lot of fun. So we are going to be building out our new campaign starting next Friday, the 18th. the 2018th, the 18th. Friday the 18th, we are going to be starting our new D&D campaign. We will be continuing our board game streams on Wednesdays because I have a lot of fun doing them. Dom enjoys doing them. Laura enjoys doing them with us. So we are going to be keeping that up for as long as we have games to play, which we have thousands of the things, even if it means we play the same one over and over again. This Wednesday, we are going to be playing the Viticulture with the Tuscany expansion. So I'm looking forward to giving that a try, because that is going to be a fun new challenge. We've not tried the Tuscany expansion. We're going to see how that plays. Yeah, that is everything. I think we will go across to Loserpalooza, who is playing some Horizon Forbidden West. So let's go and see how Mr. Dave Loser is getting on. Thank you very much for joining us. Stay safe out there. Come and see us again in the future. Hopefully we will see you tomorrow. If not, enjoy your weekend. If you're going to Aircon, take care of yourselves. We'll see you up there. And have a good evening. Good night, everyone.